welcome. We're so happy to have you here with us.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
So as you know, I am a huge fangirl of Homecourt, so I've been able to get that out of my system backstage a little bit. But can you tell us just a little bit about you and your background before starting Homecourt?
Sure. I'll start at the very beginning. I was born in Michigan. I moved to the suburbs of New York City when I was 11. I went to college at University of Chicago, and I started my career in management consulting at PwC. I mostly worked for airline clients, so not yet in the beauty industry. But I was super curious about beauty as a customer, and in 2014, I had the opportunity to go back to University of Chicago for business school, and that's when a lot of indie beauty brands were coming to be. So while at Booth, I focused everything on consumer and beauty. After Booth, I went to L'Oreal to start my career in beauty and learn how to be an operator in the space. So I first was the chief of staff for the president of the International Designer Collections in the luxury division, working for brands like Armani, YSL, Ralph Lauren. And then I helped them operationalize D2C and pop-up retail. And then I was promoted to brand manager of Viktor and Rolf and Proenza Schouler fragrance. So I was responsible for the P&L in the US for those two brands.
So you've worked with some incredibly iconic brands over the course of your career. And so what made you want to get into entrepreneurship? Like, how did you connect with Courtney? What was the vision that got you really excited in the beginning?
Yeah. Well, I've had an entrepreneurial bone in my body for a while. We were talking backstage. I started a babysitting empire when I was 12. When I first moved to New York, I have two younger sisters, and we saw an opportunity in the neighborhood to really take over the market. So I had a little flyer. I charged only $5 an hour, which was definitely Midwest prices in the New York City area, so I got a lot of business. And then at Booth, too, I was really interested and focused on entrepreneurship. I had an idea for a magic eraser for hair. Didn't really get off the ground. And overall, at the time, I was also a little risk-averse with student loans, so took that traditional path of, again, consulting and L'Oreal. But it was the pandemic when the stars really aligned. I think when the world is upside down, it's a little easier to take a risk and make a change. So in the pandemic, it was a lot easier to network. You didn't have to sneak out of the office. You could hop off one Zoom and hop on another. So I started networking, and I got connected with a family office that wanted to start talent-led brands. So when I was talking to them in summer 2020, they really had a blank sheet of paper, except they thought the candle industry was really interesting. And they were right. In the pandemic, the fragrance market was booming. And to this day, it's still the fastest growing category in beauty over the past 5 years. So basically, blank sheet of paper, candles, and they didn't tell me who the celebrity was until September 2020. And they said, okay, so it's Courtney Cox, Monica from Friends. And I said, oh, now I'm really excited. This could be really big. And so Courtney and I did a Zoom around Labor Day. We really hit it off, and I saw her passion for fragrance and design. So from a fragrance perspective, she had been for years mixing her own oils to create her own perfumes. And then from a design perspective, she studied architecture before becoming an actress. So I really saw that passion. And then I also observed that she's truly Monica. She's very detail-oriented. I'm pretty sure she inspired the character herself. So I said, she loves fragrance. The fragrance market is booming. And I have experience in the fragrance industry. Why don't we bring a luxury beauty and fragrance philosophy to a commoditized, dusty category like home cleaning? And Courtney's the perfect founder to do this with because of her authentic connection with cleaning, being Monica. So that's how we got started. I quit L'Oreal at the end of 2020. For 13 months, we did product and brand development behind the scenes. And then we launched D2C in January 2022.
I think you said it. I don't know what more perfect celebrity than Monica Geller for for what you do. So when I think about your products, soaps, candles, there's a ton of competition out there. And so how do you do things differently at Homecourt?
I think our number one differentiator is really the fragrance. So if you think about cleaning products before Homecourt, it's very one note. It's lemon or lavender. But now with Homecourt, we actually have built 7 fragrance franchises: CC, Neroli Leaf, Steeped Rose, Mandarin Basil, what else? Coco Moi, and Balsam Fireplace, and Cypress Mint. So we are really bringing the world of fine perfumery into new categories and more everyday use. We work with the best perfumers in the industry. Our main nose for the brand is Jerome Epinette, who's the nose behind Byredo and Sol de Janeiro, so other iconic fragrances. And you'll find in our formulas that we are using raw materials and very high concentrations, typically reserved for a $300 bottle of perfume, but now in your everyday products. So fragrance is definitely our number one differentiator. The other 2 things that we consider our Homecourt advantage are our clean formulations. We worked with a cosmetic chemist to use skincare-grade ingredients, so everything meets Credo Clean standards. We own the IP on all of our formulas. And then from a sustainable design perspective, all of our packaging, whether it's our bottles or our unit cartons, use 100% post-consumer recycled material. And by the way, we designed it so that it looks good on your counter, and you no longer have to hide it underneath your sink.
It is very, very elegant looking, so I think you nailed that one. At Pattern, we talk a lot about making brands craveable. And so as you were starting out, how did you and Courtney together think about building that brand identity?
This is where Courtney is really involved in the brand. Her DNA is all over the products. A couple of fun examples. Our candle vessel, which you can see on the screen, you're going to notice it's very minimalist. We don't have a label. We don't have our in-your-face branding, and that's very intentional. Courtney hates labels. So we actually just have a very sleek Homecourt, embossed on the bottom of the candle. And the shape of this candle vessel, which, by the way, all of our packaging is patented. We've invested a lot in IP. But she made the first prototype herself on a pottery wheel. And quickly, I told her, we need to make this somewhere else because we're going to sell a lot of these. But she was like very hands-on. The shape of the bottles is inspired by her favorite olive oil. On the bottles read black, but they're actually a dark juniper green color, which is the same color as the paint in her living room, which I come to find out is this very niche, small British paint brand that isn't even sold in the US. So we had to really track it down to get the right color matching. And at the end of the day, in addition to being so creative and hands-on, she has amazing taste. CC, which is our best-selling fragrance, is that personal fragrance combination that she had been working on before meeting Jerome. So
that is incredible. I think something that's really interesting, particularly given your strength in fragrance, is that Homecourt started as a D2C business, and you've only grown exponentially since then. And so how did you think about building your customer base really from the ground up? And then how have you continued to retain those customers?
Thank you. Yeah, we have grown very fast. Again, we launched in January 2022, so I guess we're about 3.5 years old now, and we've doubled the business every year. We're still also 90% digital sales. Last year, full year 2024, 77% of our sales were on our own website, 10% were on Amazon, and then another 3% were on retailer.com. The rest was in person. So we're still a very digital business, and I think we have a lot of good fundamentals. High AOV, strong repeat rate, which I can get into, that has really made our business successful as a digital brand. So when you asked about how did we build our customer base, Courtney and her global celebrity obviously helps get the awareness out. We have seen that 65% of our sales are organic or unpaid. That's life to date, and that definitely is the Courtney effect, I would say. I also am hoping today to acquire at least 1,500 new customers organically in this audience. By the way, I made a special code for you today. It's Accelerate15 if you want to check out our website, homecourt.co. So organic is important for us for acquiring customers. And then we have a really strong repeat rate. 42% of our customers repurchase within 12 months. So that repeat rate has really been that foundation for that strong business, and we keep growing and growing from there. And the reason why the customers are repeating is the fragrance and all of our new product launches. So right now on screen, you mostly are seeing our home collection and our hand, but now we have 14 product formats in 3 categories. Not only home, so surface spray, candles, room deodorant, but also body, shower gel, body lotion, perfume, and then laundry, which we just launched in March. So these are all incremental launches, just only helping to grow the basket size. They're not cannibalizing.
Yeah.
People are falling in love with the fragrance franchise and then wanting to use it throughout their home and their life.
I love that. Okay, awesome. And I know you mentioned a little bit when we talked that you've actually trademarked the beauty of home care.
Yes.
Isn't that right? And so how did you think about that? Do you think that's played a role in just customers being interested and being attracted and really thinking of this as something different from the typical products like this?
I think we found a really unique positioning.
Yeah.
We are a prestige price point, so our products start at $25, which is about 5x your mass competitor. But we're really positioned as a beauty brand for the home, partially because of that trademark. But we've won, I think I forgot to mention, we've won over 25 product awards, including 3 Allure Best of Beauty awards. So the industry is really welcoming us with open arms as a beauty brand for the home. At Nordstrom and Bluemercury, our offline channels, we are sold in the beauty department, which is very unique.
It is very unique. What a cool approach to take. So, you started talking about innovation. So I'm going to jump a little bit. You started talking about your category expansion, and earlier this year, Fast Company named Homecourt as one of the most innovative companies. So congratulations.
Thank you.
But tell us how you approach innovation and how do you balance that with maintaining your core value proposition for this amazing customer base you've built up?
Thank you. The Fast Company recognition was very exciting. We were one of the only consumer brands on the list. We were number 40. I think we were just ahead of the WNBA, and then Waymo is the number 1. I still haven't done a Waymo yet. I'm curious about
nervous.
it. So I think what Fast Company found the most innovative about us was they were very interested in our laundry collection. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. We launched March 18th, the day that the Fast Company article came out, and we have a collection of 3 products in laundry. First, our laundry concentrate. It is our daily detergent. It's a patent-pending formula, 10x concentrated, no water added. And it's actually in the same form factor as our dish soap, which you'll see up there. So in that 16-ounce bottle, you will have 70 washes because all you need is 3 to 5 pumps into your machine. And that's what's innovative. Not only is the formula patent pending, but also the form factor. And the reason why we did that form factor is because Courtney, again, AKA Monica, didn't want a messy cup that you have to pour and then rinse out. So she thought it's much easier just to pump into your laundry, and we haven't seen that in the industry yet.
Yeah.
So that was our laundry concentrate. We have our linen spray, which is also wrinkle releasing. That's in a spray bottle similar to our surface spray. And then instead of dryer sheets, we designed a laundry fragrance oil. It's a little oil bottle that you dab onto wool dryer balls, and it's our answer because we thought that wool dryer balls are more sustainable than dryer sheets.
Yeah. I love what you said about really a lot of your expansion is driven by the fragrance franchise. How do you know when it's the right time to launch into a new category like that? Or when do you know when it's the right time to kind of focus and prioritize investment in innovation?
So at first we were doing a lot of innovation in fragrances, and that actually takes the longest. I would say that's where we are testing and trying and, turning up the volume on one note and turning down the volume on another note. We're super particular about our fragrances. And then once a fragrance hits, it's actually the customers that are asking for more. So one of our first customer surveys in 2023, after we just had the products that you see on the screen now, it was, when can I wear this as a perfume? I'm literally spraying the surface spray on my wrist. We were like, please don't do that. It's clean and non-toxic, but we don't recommend it. And then I'd love to wash my clothes in this with laundry. So we had the product roadmap, but we expedited body and laundry when we saw that that's what the customers wanted.
Yeah.
So we do definitely listen to our customers as well.
I think that it sounds it sounds obvious, but I think there's such an important just lesson and wisdom in that for sure. So that's awesome. Getting back, I guess, to fragrance a bit, your products smell incredible. We've talked about fragrance being a differentiator. I was telling you I am a huge fan of the CC, but I'm converted to steeped rose, so I do encourage everyone to go give that a sniff. But how do you bring, fragrance is so experiential, and so how do you bring that to life digitally, particularly in a digitally native, brand?
Product photography and ingredient imagery, which you see up here, is very important. You have to bring the fragrance to life and what it smells like with your imagery and your copy. So we focused on that from the beginning. And then one of our first marketing investments, as soon as we could, was sampling cards. So we have a discovery postcard that has 4 fragrances. Now that we have 7, we're making a new one soon. But it's a peel off, almost like what you would see in the magazines back in the day. And you can, we add that as complimentary to your order, or you can purchase one for $5, and it's a bounce back offer. So buy the sample card for $5, and when you come back, you'll get $5 off your purchase. We also make a lot of discovery sets and build your own sets so that people can try different fragrances. And that's how we've brought the fragrance to life. But I will say, ever since we started to do some wholesale, so offline experiences, we actually are in over 200 independent boutiques across the country, plus a select Nordstrom and Bluemercury doors. And we saw a halo effect on our D2C. So in Iowa, we actually have 3 boutiques, all about 2 hours apart. And we saw triple the traffic and revenue from Iowa zip codes on our D2C site after launching those.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, so it is important to have a mix of online and offline.
And offline, yeah. How did you know the right time to do that, or how did you think about experimenting that? Because it's a different muscle and a different skill set. So.
Yeah, well, my experience at L'Oreal was actually more brick and mortar than D2C. Victor and Rolf at the time was 85% brick and mortar. We didn't even launch our D2C site for Victor and Rolf until 2018, which is pretty late in the game. But I think for us, we had a lot of inbound interest in wholesale, thanks to Courtney and her network effect. There was even a time where we got a phone call from a small boutique in Jackson Hole. Hi, is this Homecourt? Jennifer Aniston and Jason Bateman just walked in and said, we have to carry you. So we have Courtney's network effect opening doors for us as well. And we're a really small team, though. We're only 5 full-time employees. So it's been very helpful that a lot has been inbound, and we're just managing that demand. But we have a lot of opportunity offline. I think there's a lot of upside on online, but still a lot of opportunity offline as well.
That's an incredible way just to scale and to grow and keep your team lean.
Thanks. And one other thing I'll say just about the importance of scaling at the right time, especially if you're a primarily online business. You want to have your D2C fundamentals right and make sure you're as profitable as possible, because those wholesale channels and offline channels are going to eat into your margin and bring your profitability down. So you need to get your basics right. Then when you do wholesale, I think you hear a lot of brands saying, oh, we're opening 1,000 doors, we're sell in, but what about sell through? And that's a lesson I took from L'Oreal, and we're really bringing it to Homecourt. So for example, at Nordstrom, I'm only in 5 doors. But when I'm in those 5 doors, I have 4 shelves. I make sure they're the top fragrance stores with already a lot of natural foot traffic, and I'm making sure I can support those doors with a field sales team. It's not just about selling in, it's about selling through. And then, so we want to walk before we run.
Yeah, so very deliberate, very strategic decision making. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So, I think Dave and John both referenced TikTok, and social commerce is the fastest growing e-commerce channel right now. It's definitely a focus at this conference. So, what would you say is Homecourt's social commerce strategy? And how do you think about Courtney as both your co-founder and, as you've said, she has the global celebrity. She has friends who open up doors. So, how do you think about that?
So far, most of our social commerce strategy has been organic gifting, and like I said earlier, Courtney's friends are organically supporting the brand, which is great. Courtney herself makes really entertaining content that I just let her do her thing, make her magic, because she's a comedic genius. And it's funny, her comedy doesn't necessarily match our very luxury brand, but I actually think that's what's really unique about us. We can be both. We're luxury, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. So Courtney makes her magic. My favorite reel of hers actually is when she's cleaning her Hollywood star with our surface spray. I don't know if you've seen that one, but that's my favorite. So all of that to say, we have not done a lot on TikTok yet. That's specifically been because of our bandwidth on our team.
Yeah.
And I know it's untapped territory. And I think, as you can see with our repeat rate, customers are loving the product word of mouth. So my next step as CEO, when I'm looking at the budgets for next year, looking at hiring more team members, is to hire and resource around things like TikTok and TikTok Shop, and maybe bringing our customers to life and being creators themselves to and then when that content is made and they're like, oh my God, this smells amazing, that's going to make my Meta and my Google advertising even more efficient as well.
Yeah.
So big opportunity, and I hope to learn a little bit about it at the conference too.
I think we have some good content for you,
Thanks.
so I'm excited. So I guess just a couple of last questions, but what have been some of your proudest moments since becoming the CEO of Homecourt? I was asking you backstage, do you love being a CEO, and what's it like? So what are some of the things over the last couple of years that are super memorable for you?
Thanks. I'm so proud. I love working in physical product. It's a lot more exciting than when I was at airlines, my first career. And I'm very proud of all of our awards and the product quality. Again, the product quality speaks for itself. It's been really exciting to get all the recognition and immediate awareness because of Courtney, but we're not pigeonholed as just another celebrity brand because of our amazing products and all the awards we've won there. And then I'm really proud of the team we have built and where we're going. We've done a lot with what we've had, and there's a lot more opportunity in the future.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, so just maybe leave us on an inspirational note. What should we be on the lookout for from Homecourt in the future?
Yes, in terms of product launches, we only currently have one fragrance in our body and personal fragrance line, which is Coco Moi, but we will be bringing it to our hero franchise, CC, this fall, so you can now wear CC. We are, again, opening more Nordstrom doors selectively. We just opened 20 new Bluemercury doors last week. And we have our sights set on international expansion as well in the next couple of years. So we're looking forward to that.
That's awesome. So what I'm hearing you say is that we can all smell like Courtney Cox before too long. So
yes, you can.
Okay, amazing. Well, thank you for such an amazing conversation. This was so fun. I know I learned a ton just about your strategy, and this was really awesome. So thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Okay.